The scanner's wail hit every frequency simultaneously. Lethal energy buildup detected, extinction-level threat. And Charlotte Brown, coffee in hand, tapped Cadet Zorinix on the back of his neck like she was correcting his posture. He dropped like a puppet with cut strings, unconscious before he hit the training mat. Station Commander Zilak slammed the emergency lockdown protocol so hard, his claws cracked the console. Evacuate combat wing. All personnel to emergency shelters. Containment breach in Sector 7. Charlotte blinked at the flashing red lights, then down at the unconscious cadet. What? I was just helping him with his breathing technique. He was holding all his tension right here. She gestured at her own neck, still holding her travel mug that read, World's Okayest Teacher. According to YouTube analytics, 99.6% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, you'll help support the channel and never miss fresh content. You, Zilax's translator struggled with the pitch of his voice. You neutralized a fully charged Valorian warrior with a touch? I mean, he wasn't breathing properly. You could see it in his shoulders. Charlotte knelt beside Zorinix, checking his pulse with the casual competence of someone who'd handled unconscious fourth graders after dodgeball incidents. He'll be fine. Probably just needs water and a snack. Kael'thas, the Academy's chief combat instructor, burst through the training hall doors with a full tactical response team. His combat suit was already powered up, energy crackling across the reinforced plating. He took one look at the scene, Charlotte kneeling beside an unconscious cadet, sipping coffee, surrounded by scanning equipment screaming warnings, and his primary eyes went wide. The human just disabled a charging combatant, Zilak said, his voice barely above a whisper. Single touch, 3 seconds, maybe less. That's impossible. Kael'thas approached slowly, his suit's scanners painting Charlotte with targeting lasers. Valorians require 17 minutes minimum to reach combat charge. Once charged, their neural energy matrix becomes untouchable. Any external interference triggers catastrophic discharge that can level city blocks. It's why we evacuate training zones during power-up exercises. Charlotte stood up, brushing off her khakis. Look, I don't know about all that, but he was clearly uncomfortable. You learn to read body language when you've managed a classroom for 15 years. That kid was wound tighter than a spring, so I helped him relax. Helped him relax? Kael'thas pulled up the scanner data on his wrist display. According to this, Cadet Zorinix had accumulated enough combat energy to engage a heavy battle mech. He was 3 minutes from full charge, which means he was radiating enough power to... He stopped, staring at the readouts. The energy dispersed through his neural pathways as if he'd voluntarily discharged it. But that takes years of meditation training. I just tapped him on the neck, Charlotte said, demonstrating the motion in the air, right where the tension was, like this. She mimed the gentle but firm pressure point she'd used. We do it all the time with kids who get worked up before tests. Zilax and Kael'thas exchanged a look that Charlotte was starting to recognize as the universal expression for, the human just broke physics again. Get medical down here, Zilax ordered, and contact Galactic Defense Ministry. We need to understand what just happened before. The scanner shrieked again, then again, and again. Across the combat wing, 17 more cadets who'd been mid-charge for their synchronized combat drill all registered as critical threats. Charlotte had walked past all of them on her way to the observation deck, apparently helping with posture the entire time. Oh, for the love of... Kael'thas pulled up the security footage. There was Charlotte, 20 minutes ago, cheerfully walking through the training area with her coffee, occasionally reaching out to tap a cadet on the shoulder or adjust their stance. Each touch resulted in an immediate energy dispersal that the monitoring systems had categorized as voluntary discharge for safety protocols. She's been doing this for weeks, Vexia, the secondary combat instructor, whispered as she scrolled through the logs. We have 47 documented incidents of mysterious power loss during training exercises. Every single one happened within 30 seconds of human proximity. Charlotte peered at the screen over Vexia's shoulder. Oh, that's when I've been helping out. Commander Zilax asked me to observe training sessions as part of my cultural liaison duties. I've been giving feedback on cadet performance. Your feedback. Kael'thas pulled up Charlotte's evaluation reports.
You wrote that Cadet Tarax seemed stressed during power-up exercises and would benefit from breathing exercises. You wrote that Cadet Sinara was holding tension in her combat form and needed to relax her shoulders. Well, yeah, they did. Charlotte sipped her coffee. You can't expect them to perform well if they're all wound up like that. They were preparing for combat, Vexia said. The tension you detected was concentrated battle-ready energy. They're supposed to be wound up. Oh, Charlotte considered this. Well, that explains why they kept apologizing to me about losing their charge. I thought they meant they were tired. Zilax's communication panel lit up with Priority 1 calls from 3 different sectors of Galactic Command. Sir, his aide said,
we have 17 admirals requesting immediate clarification on Code Black protocols for human-induced disarmament events. Tell them we're still assessing, Zilax started, but Charlotte interrupted. Wait, can someone explain what the big deal is? I was just being helpful. Kael'thas pulled up a holographic display showing the energy matrix of a charging warrior. When our species enter combat mode, we build up neural kinetic energy over extended periods. This makes us exponentially more dangerous, but also creates a protective field that prevents external interference. It's the foundation of modern military doctrine. You can't stop a warrior mid-charge without heavy weapons or another fully charged combatant. The vulnerability window doesn't exist. Except it apparently does, Vexia said quietly. If you're a human with teaching experience. Charlotte laughed. Okay, now you're just being dramatic. I'm not doing anything special. You just look for the signs, rapid breathing, muscle tension, unfocused eyes, and you intervene before they hurt themselves or someone else. It's basic classroom management. Classroom management, Zilax repeated the words like they were in a foreign language. You manage human children using techniques that can neutralize our most elite warriors. I mean, have you met human teenagers? Charlotte grinned. They're basically walking emotional bombs. You learn to diffuse situations quickly, or your classroom becomes a disaster zone. Last year, I had Tommy Rodriguez flip a desk because someone said his favorite superhero was lame. Kids that age are all hormones and poor impulse control. The 3 alien instructors stared at her. Your young go through a phase where they're bombs? Kael'thas asked carefully. Oh, absolutely. Puberty's a nightmare. They're constantly charged up with emotions and energy, and you've got to help them manage it or they explode. Charlotte paused, noticing their expressions. Not literally explode. Usually. There was this one incident with Marcus Chen and the chemistry lab, but we don't talk about that. Zilax made a note on his datapad with trembling claws. Human children exhibit weapons-grade emotional energy, and human educators develop countermeasures as survival adaptations. That's a weird way to put it, but sure. Charlotte checked her watch. Look, I've got to prep for my afternoon session on human cultural norms. Are we done here? Is Zoranix okay? As if on cue, the cadet groaned and sat up, rubbing his neck. Instructor Brown, what happened? You were building up too much tension, sweetie. I helped you relax. How do you feel? I feel... Zoranix flexed his claws experimentally. Good? Clearer than I have in weeks, actually, like I just had a full meditation cycle. He stood up, rolling his shoulders. That was incredible. Can you teach me that technique? Sure, it's all about recognizing where you hold stress and releasing it consciously. I can show you some breathing exercises too. They work wonders for test anxiety. Kael'thas pulled Zilax aside. Sir, with respect, we need to escalate this immediately. If humans can casually disable charged warriors by treating them like stressed children, our entire military structure is based on false assumptions. I'm aware. Zilax pulled up a galaxy-wide communication channel. This is Station Commander Zilax of Valorian Military Academy, requesting emergency consultation with the Galactic Defense Council. We have a code. I don't think we have a code for this. We have a human who's been accidentally disarming our elite combat trainees because she thinks they need emotional support. Charlotte, overhearing this, called out, "It's not just emotional support. There are physical techniques involved. Pressure points, breathing patterns, posture correction. It's a whole system." "A whole system," Zilax repeated into the comm. "For managing dangerous young. That works on our warriors." "Yes, I'm completely serious. No, I haven't been exposed to neural toxins. Send someone from xenobiology, military command, and possibly psychological warfare. This is beyond my expertise." Within the hour, the academy was swarming with officials. Dr. Zylar, the consortium's leading expert in cross-species neural energy dynamics, set up a full scanning array around Charlotte, who sat patiently in a chair, still drinking her coffee. "Just relax and act naturally," Zylar said, adjusting the sensors. "I'm a teacher. Sitting still while being observed is basically my nightmare," Charlotte joked. "Should I do something?" "Just exist. We need baseline readings." Zylar activated the scanners, and his assistant Janira gasped, "Sir, the human is emitting constant, low-level energy manipulation fields. Subtle, but continuous." "Show me." Zylar studied the readouts, his crest flattening in confusion. "This is..." "She's reading and responding to ambient energy patterns in real time, unconsciously, like breathing." Charlotte raised her hand. "Is this going to take long?" "I've got quizzes to grade." "You're automatically scanning the emotional and energetic states of everyone in this room," Zylar said slowly. "Right now, without thinking about it." "I mean, yeah?" "You're anxious and excited, hence the crest thing. Janira is nervous but curious. You can tell by the way she's holding her data pad. Commander Zilax is over there spiraling into an existential crisis which, honestly, fair. And Kael'thas is running combat simulations in his head about what happens if humans are classified as weapons." Charlotte took another sip. "Am I close?" "You're exactly correct," Janira whispered. "How?" 15 years of teaching. You learn to read the room or you lose control of 30 kids who've decided that today's the day to test every boundary simultaneously. Charlotte shrugged. "It's just paying attention." Zylar turned to Zilax. "Commander, I need authorization to review human educational facilities. If this ability is common among their teachers, we need to understand the training process." "Granted, whatever you need." Zilax looked like he'd aged 10 cycles in the past hour. Charlotte stood up. "Okay, well, if we're doing a whole thing about human teaching methods, I should mention that I'm probably not even the most impressive teacher at my school. Mrs. Rodriguez can stop a food fight with just a look, and Mr. Chen once talked down 3 seniors from a prank that involved the school mascot, 2 liters of soda, and a drone."
Now that was impressive. Your educational facilities regularly deal with crisis scenarios? Kael'thas asked. It's middle school. It's basically crisis management training disguised as education. Charlotte grinned. Why do you think teachers always look so tired? We're running tactical operations every single day. Vexia pulled up her data pad. I'm requesting a full review of every human-alien interaction at military installations across the galaxy. If human teachers can do this, we need to know if other humans have similar capabilities. The results came back within hours. Human security personnel at checkpoints had been helping people calm down for years. What aliens interpreted as threatening behavior was actually humans detecting heightened stress and attempting to de-escalate. Human medical staff had been providing comfort to patients, which translated to unconsciously manipulating energy fields to promote healing. Human diplomats had been reading the room during negotiations, literally sensing and responding to the energetic states of all participants. We've been living alongside a species of unconscious energy manipulators, Zylar summarized in his report to the Galactic Council, who evolved these abilities to manage their exceptionally volatile young.
What they call social skills and emotional intelligence are actually sophisticated neural energy manipulation techniques. Charlotte, reading over his shoulder, snorted. That's a really fancy way of saying we're good at dealing with people. You're not just good at dealing with people, Zeeler said. You're unconsciously detecting, analyzing, and influencing the energetic states of every being around you. When you help someone relax, you're literally triggering a neural energy discharge through touch and intention. When you read body language, you're sensing energy patterns directly. Huh. Charlotte considered this. So when I can tell a kid's about to have a meltdown before they even know it themselves, you're detecting the energy buildup in their neural matrix and preparing countermeasures. And when I can calm down a whole classroom just by changing my tone of voice, you're projecting stabilizing energy patterns through vocal modulation. Charlotte was quiet for a moment. Then she laughed. Oh man, wait until I tell the other teachers about this. Mrs. Rodriguez is going to lose it. She always said teaching was a superpower. It's not a joke, Zilax said seriously. Charlotte, do you understand the implications? Humans can neutralize our most powerful warriors with casual touch. You can detect threats before they manifest. You can influence emotional and energetic states without conscious effort. In military terms, every human teacher is a walking tactical advantage. Or, in teaching terms, Charlotte countered, every soldier's just a really big student who needs help managing their energy. She smiled at Zoranix, who'd been listening to everything. No offense, hun. None taken, instructor. The cadet actually looked thoughtful. Actually, that reframes a lot of my training, if I'm just managing energy buildup instead of trying to dominate it. Exactly. You're learning. Charlotte beamed like he'd just solved a difficult math problem. Kael'thas made a decision. Charlotte, would you be willing to conduct a demonstration? Show us how you'd handle a fully charged warrior approaching you with hostile intent? Sure, I guess. Charlotte set down her coffee. Who wants to volunteer? Every warrior in the room took a step back. Oh, come on, Charlotte laughed. I'm not going to hurt anyone. Kael'thas, how about you? You're already charged up from earlier. The chief combat instructor hesitated, then nodded. Agreed. But I'm going to charge to full combat capacity. I need to know if your ability works on maximum threat levels. Do what you need to do. Charlotte stepped into the center of the training mat, rolling her shoulders like she was preparing for a parent-teacher conference. Kael'thas moved to the far end of the hall and began his combat meditation. His energy built visibly, crackling across his armored skin, his eyes glowing with accumulated power. The scanners started their warning whine, climbing in pitch as his charge increased. 5 minutes. 10. 15. Charlotte watched with interest, sipping her coffee with one hand, the other on her hip. That's a lot of tension you're building up there, Kael'thas. You sure that's healthy? At 17 minutes, Kael'thas achieved full combat charge. The training hall's blast shields automatically deployed. Every scanner in the facility screamed warnings. He was a walking weapon, radiating enough power to crack the reinforced floors beneath his feet. Approach me with hostile intent, Charlotte called out. Let's see what happens. Kael'thas charged. Not a run, a combat strike, moving with the supernatural speed of a fully powered warrior. He closed the distance in less than a second. Combat claws extended, energy field blazing. Charlotte didn't flinch. She shifted her weight slightly, tracked his movement with calm eyes, and as he came within striking range, she reached out and pressed 2 fingers against a point just below his shoulder guard. Kael'thas dropped like a stone. The energy that had taken 17 minutes to build dispersed in an instant, flowing harmlessly into the training mat's energy absorption systems. He lay there, conscious but completely immobilized, staring up at Charlotte in absolute shock. See? Charlotte knelt beside him. You were holding way too much tension. That had to hurt. How do you feel now? I feel, Kael'thas tried to process it, empty, clear. Like I just completed a perfect meditation cycle. What did you do? I found where you were holding all that built-up energy and gave it a release point. Think of it like... You know when you have a muscle cramp and someone massages it out? Same principle, just with energy instead of muscles. She helped him sit up. You should practice releasing it voluntarily instead of building to dangerous levels. It's better for you long term. Zilar was making frantic notes. She neutralized a fully combat-charged Valorian warrior with a two-finger pressure point strike. The energy dispersal was instantaneous and completely controlled. This shouldn't be possible. It's possible if you know where to touch and you actually care about not hurting the person, Charlotte said. That's the key. You're not attacking them, you're helping them. Their body recognizes the difference and cooperates. Their body cooperates? Vexia pulled up the medical scans. The neural pathway engagement shows voluntary participation in the discharge. His combat systems didn't register you as a threat. Because I'm not a threat, I'm a helper. Charlotte pulled Kael'thas to his feet. You okay? Need some water? I need to completely rethink my understanding of combat dynamics, Kael'thas said quietly. But yes, water would be appreciated. Zilax's communication panel exploded with priority alerts. Sir, his aide said, we have urgent requests from 17 different military commands asking if the rumors about human disarmament capabilities are true. Also, the Galactic Education Commission wants to know if they can send observers to human schools. Also, the Diplomatic Corps is asking if we can train human teachers as conflict resolution specialists. Also, tell them all yes, Zilax said tiredly. And someone get me a human beverage called coffee. I'm going to need it. Charlotte perked up. Oh, I can make coffee. I brought my travel kettle. How do you like it? Strong enough to help me accept that my species' military doctrine has been fundamentally obsolete since humans joined the galactic community. So, black with 2 sugars. Got it. Over the next few hours, Charlotte demonstrated her abilities on volunteers from different species, Draconians, Zentari, even a hive mind collective representative. Every time, the result was the same. Instant, controlled energy discharge that left the subject feeling refreshed and clear-headed instead of combat-ready. The human treats our warriors like they're students having a rough day, Vexia observed. And somehow, that's more effective than any combat technique we've developed. Because I am treating them like students having a rough day, Charlotte said, because that's basically what they are. You're all so focused on power and dominance and combat efficiency, but you're forgetting the basics. These are people with bodies and emotions and energy systems that need care and management. You can't just wind them up like toys and expect them to perform optimally. Sealer looked up from his notes. Charlotte, in human terms, what would you call what you do? Teaching, coaching, helping. She shrugged. Being a decent human being who pays attention to other people's well-being. And this is common among human educators? More common than you'd think. Good teachers develop it naturally. You have to, or you burn out. Bad teachers don't last long because they can't manage their classrooms. Charlotte smiled. There's this joke back on Earth. Those who can't teach, teach gym. But honestly, gym teachers might be the best at this stuff. They're managing 30 kids full of physical energy in a space designed for mayhem. That takes skill. We need to send a delegation to Earth, Zilax decided, specifically to human educational institutions. If even their bad teachers have rudimentary abilities in energy manipulation and threat assessment, we need to understand the full spectrum of human capability. Sure, but maybe wait until after standardized testing season, Charlotte suggested. Teachers are extra stressed during that time. You'll get a skewed reading. Noted. Zilax added it to his ever-growing list of concerns about human capabilities. Admiral Raylia arrived from Galactic Defense Command, flanked by tactical advisors and military strategists. She took one look at the assembled data, watched Charlotte casually discharge another volunteer warrior, and sat down heavily. This changes everything, she said. If humans can neutralize charged combatants on sight, our entire approach to warfare becomes obsolete. Defense grids, combat protocols, tactical positioning, all of it assumes that a charged warrior is untouchable until energy depletion. Humans just touch them. To be fair, Charlotte interjected, I'm not trying to neutralize anyone, I'm trying to help them not hurt themselves. There's a difference. The result is the same. Admiral Rilia pulled up Galactic Battle Doctrine on her display. 3,000 years of military evolution, and a human teacher with a coffee mug can undo it with one finger. 2 fingers, Charlotte corrected. 1 finger doesn't have enough contact surface area for proper energy redirection. 2 fingers, Rilia repeated flatly. This is a nightmare from a military strategic standpoint. Or an opportunity, Kael'thas said slowly. If humans can help our warriors manage their energy more efficiently, they could charge faster, discharge more safely, and avoid the medical complications of power overload. Charlotte mentioned that our approach is unhealthy long-term. Oh, it's definitely unhealthy, Charlotte confirmed. You're basically giving yourselves the equivalent of stress ulcers every time you train. The energy buildup without proper release, that's going to cause serious problems down the line. Neural degradation, energy pathway scarring, probably chronic pain. I'm honestly surprised you haven't developed better management techniques. We didn't know management was possible, Xylar said. We thought the only options were buildup and explosive release through combat. Well, now you know better. Charlotte checked her watch again, and I really do need to get to my afternoon session. I'm teaching cadets about human cultural celebrations, and I need to prep the presentation on Thanksgiving. It's complicated to explain. Wait, Admiral Rilia stood up. Before you go, can you teach this ability to our instructors? Charlotte considered it. I can try, but it's not really something you teach directly. It's more like you develop it over time through practice and genuine care for the people you're working with. I can show you the techniques, but the underlying skill set comes from years of paying attention to people's needs and learning to respond appropriately. So it's an experiential skill that requires empathy and sustained practice, Xylar said, which explains why it's common among human educators, but not among warriors focused purely on combat efficiency. Exactly, Charlotte brightened. See? You're getting it. Now, if you'll excuse me, the scanner shrieked. Charlotte automatically turned toward the sound, then walked over to Cadet Talana, who'd been quietly charging in the corner for a training exercise. She tapped the cadet's shoulder. Sweetie, you're building up way too much tension. Take a breath. Talana's charge dispersed instantly. She blinked in confusion. Yes, instructor. Thank you. No problem. Charlotte patted her shoulder and headed for the door, coffee in hand. Behind her, the assembled military leadership of the Galactic Consortium stared at each other in silence. She didn't even break stride, Vexia whispered. She detected the charge buildup from across the room, Xylar said, through ambient energy sensing alone, and intervened as casually as breathing. Because to her, Kael'thas realized, that's exactly what it is. As natural as breathing, Admiral Rilia began drafting emergency protocol updates. Human proximity alert. When humans are present during combat exercises, expect involuntary discharges of built-up energy. This is not an attack. This is the human equivalent of expressing concern for your well-being. Do not resist. Cooperation results in improved energy management and overall health benefits. Xilax added a second protocol. Human educational specialists to be designated as tactical support personnel. Classification, non-combatant neutralizers. Threat level. Undefined, they're not threats. But they can end threats instantly, which is somehow more concerning. Charlotte made it to her afternoon cultural session, where she taught a room full of bewildered alien cadets about the concept of Thanksgiving and why humans dedicated an entire day to eating large birds and being grateful. So you gather your family unit, Cadet Zoranix said slowly, consume excessive quantities of food, and express appreciation for your circumstances? Basically, yeah. And then we watch something called football, which is controlled violence for entertainment. That sounds lovely, Janira said politely, taking notes. It really is. Charlotte smiled. We should do something like that here. A celebration where everyone shares what they're grateful for. It's good for morale and community bonding. Later, as she walked back to her quarters, Charlotte passed Commander Zillax in the corridor. He looked exhausted. Rough day? She asked sympathetically. You have no idea. Zillax rubbed his crest. I've been on communications with the Galactic Council for 3 hours, explaining why we need to reclassify human teachers as, I don't even know what to call it. How about teachers? Charlotte suggested. We're pretty good at what we do, but we're not magical or anything. We just pay attention and care about people. That ability to pay attention and care is apparently a tactical advantage of unprecedented scale. Zillax managed a tired smile. But yes, you're teachers, who happen to be able to neutralize our most dangerous warriors with a gentle touch. When you put it that way, it sounds way more dramatic than it is. Charlotte laughed. I'm just doing my job. Speaking of which, I noticed you're holding a lot of stress in your shoulders. You might want to take a break. Do some breathing exercises. Zillax automatically straightened his posture. You're analyzing me right now, aren't you? Can't help it. Occupational hazard. She grinned. Get some rest, Commander. Tomorrow's going to be busy. I'm running a workshop on conflict resolution techniques for your instructors. Of course you are. Zillax watched her walk away, still carrying that ridiculous coffee mug, completely unaware that she'd fundamentally altered galactic military doctrine in the span of a single afternoon. He returned to his office and pulled up the final report. Human Integration Assessment. Humans possess unconscious energy manipulation abilities developed through social evolution and refined through educational experience. These abilities allow them to detect, analyze, and neutralize energy-based threats through methods they describe as being helpful and caring about people. Recommendation: embrace human support personnel in all military installations. Secondary recommendation: never, under any circumstances, upset a human teacher. They can end you with 2 fingers and a concerned expression. Zillax approved the report and sent it to the Galactic Council. Then he went to find Charlotte to ask if she could teach him those breathing exercises. His shoulders really were bothering him.